Nowadays, it feels like if we would be just playing ice hockey, but just doing the bullets. I remember my coach hinting me moves. Mm-hmm. I remember me knowing that this norm tournament is fixed for this, and this guys. But I felt that I stepped somewhere that I didn't want to be. It kind of helped me to change.
Rehab for cheaters.
If you were having a rap battle, mm-hmm. and then you come up with some beautiful poetry, and your opponent is just doing some kind of name-dropping, Kendrick Lamar, Slava Kapesas. This has always been my problem, psychological stability. Breathing exercises. I, for some reason, imagine myself being at the beach.
I feel intimidated already.
Hey guys, I'm proud to present to you my podcast episode with Levon Aronian, aka Levon Aronian, one of the most legendary chess players in the history of the game. Levon's peak rating is 4th in the history of chess, behind only Magnus Carlsen, Fabiano Caruana, and Garry Kasparov. He has never been world champion, but he has won numerous tournaments, has played numerous beautiful games that I personally, as a chess player, have studied and admired. And he's also a fascinating personality. We discussed many topics, from cheating in chess, from chess development, chess self-improvement, to chess psychology. There were exciting insights. So please enjoy this, and don't forget to write a comment if you like this podcast or if you didn't like anything. Also, I appreciate any kind of feedback. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's go.
Hi, my name is Greg Mustreader, and today here with me is the legendary Levon Aronian, one of the greatest, highest rated and most accomplished chess players in history. Hi, Levon, thank you for joining in.
My pleasure.
You just returned from Chennai tournament, and I wanted to ask you about your performance there and whether the amount of draws in modern chess is something that troubles you. What do you think about that?
Well, I won't say I'm too proud of my play there, but I think I overestimated my physical shape because I thought that I'll deal with jet lag having 2.5 days. Mm-hmm. But this was 11.5 hours and I didn't manage. So
you flew from the US, right?
Yes.
It's not enough for such a huge jet lag.
No, it turned out not to be. And I think my play was rather unimpressive at times. I think some games were interesting and were of decent level. But generally, I would say it was not a performance to remember. And to answer your question about the draws, I think that draws are not a problem, really. I mean, it's really not about the result, but about the way the game goes, mm-hmm. You being a chess player, you would know that, you have many different lines and you have to remember things, understand things. But there are certain openings nowadays for black where you basically get to the end game immediately.
Like the Brilliant?
No, Brilliant is not a problem. Brilliant is actually, but for example, this, the Tarish line, mm-hmm.
where you exchange everything.
CD, C take D. Yeah, that is an opening where I think that to play to the black, you don't need to be a genius. And you get a position that is so solid that, it's very difficult to get something interesting out of it. And that is the problem. As the result goes, draws have always been a part of the game. And draws are not a problem at all.
So it's the spirit that matters.
Yeah, you come to play and you get this position that is black has to make more than 2 or 3 mistakes in order to lose the game, which is a bit too much.
What to do about that? Should chess 960 solve this problem when people don't have this tons of theory? Or
I always believe that. I know that we're not in full agreement with a lot of players, mostly amateurs, because for them, chess by itself is very difficult to follow. And then you have a game that is so difficult, is even more difficult. I mean, there are endless possibilities, and it's not clear what are the plans in the game. So that is the problem of chess 960 generally. As for us, I think the majority of grandmasters and strong grandmasters would welcome the game, the change, because nowadays, it feels like if we would be just playing ice hockey, but just doing the bullets, nothing else, you have this very little space where you have to kind of create a possibility, but the richness of the game is slowly disappearing, unfortunately, because of that.
Do you think in future top tournaments in classical will be mostly 960? Like in 20, 30 years?
If classical chess survives, then mostly it's going to survive in that form.
Will it survive, do you think?
I'm not totally confident that it will survive, the 7-hour chess, or let's say 6-hour chess, will survive without this drastic change to chess 960 or some sort of similar variant. Because the chess that we play now, of course, there can be many different results and there's lots of excitement, as many tournaments show. But at the same time, sometimes you have tournaments where there are just draws. Because the level of defense has risen. You don't get any bad positions out of the opening, and that's the game.
Yeah, like in St. Louis this year, first 3 or 4 rounds, all draws, not too exciting for the fans.
Yeah, and I cannot say that those were like bad games. It's just
no mistakes.
Yeah, no mistakes, because everybody knows the opening. Therefore, that's it.
Are you worried about the direction chess is headed in at the moment? Let's take the cheating, for example, problem. It's just yesterday, as of the date of this recording, that, for example, Kramnik was removed from chess.com for, some say legitimately, others say without some proof, but criticizing some cheaters, alleged cheaters.
I think the problem by itself is not that big when it comes to over-the-board chess. I don't believe that we have many cases like that, nowadays.
So OTB cheaters, not many.
Yeah, very, very few. And online chess, where it's so much harder, there is a temptation. Because you either turn, the players into some sort of full surveillance Orwellian style, or you give them some freedom. But this freedom is basically turning the whole online chess into us having to believe certain things, not knowing for sure. And for many players, some players are more, they're more concerned. They get nervous and they start sometimes playing badly. And when you're nervous and you play badly, suddenly your opponent plays very well. And there you can connect things not in the way that is right. And therefore, it's not great for online chess. I mean, if online chess is to survive, online chess has much more risk of just becoming something that is, people are unhappy about generally. Because it's competitive, there are big prizes, and the control is far from ideal, I think many people understand. I personally, whenever I play online chess, And whenever I lose or whenever I feel I'm playing against somebody who's clearly getting some assistance, I take it very easy. I look at it and I say, well, it's sort of a training as well. Playing against a computer, it's sort of a challenge. Mm-hmm. If I lose, I lose. I don't mind.
Well, that's the attitude. But you don't play. You don't often play in tournaments online, as far as I know. Is it because you don't want to play against cheaters? Is it the case that you are one of those grandmasters who have become disappointed with online chess in general?
No. I love playing online chess, but so with the tournaments like Title Tuesday, sometimes they are not at the time that is convenient for me. That is a problem. And sometimes I basically forget. That also happens to play. But I love playing online chess, and because I don't get so emotionally attached to it, it's easy for me to play. Mm-hmm. I get more angry when I lose in the online rapid, but it's rarely. I feel it's much rarer that you feel that there is something wrong that is happening in the rapid events.
You mean the chess.com?
Yes.
Rapid events. Why is it so? Do they have stricter? They do actually, right? Do they have stricter measures to control, or?
I don't think it's such a big difference. No, because
why?
Okay, they have 2 cameras, mm-hmm. But all right. I mean, I many times I realized how easy it is to fool 2 cameras, because
micro earplug.
Or I was playing with somebody I remember, and my wife or my mother, they didn't know that I'm playing. And they sent me a WhatsApp message. I see it on the screen, on my phone. So if I just look towards the phone and I get this message, it's basically I'm looking at the camera, and there are no doubts that I'm doing something wrong. It's other thing that a lot of people say, oh, he's looking down or he's looking towards the other side, which is suspicious. Mm-hmm. But perfectly looking at the camera and seeing the text.
So you need another camera to look at the screens of other cameras.
Yes, or like this Soviet joke. Yeah, there was this one. In future, what do you need to fly an airplane? It said you need a pilot and a dog. And they say, why? The dog to watch over the pilot so he doesn't touch anything. So, yes, you need somebody to control. But yeah, it turns into some kind of a farce, I think.
So it's not enough, but still people cheat less. Why? In those rapid events?
It's hard to tell. But I know, I mean,
people are more afraid.
I kind of feel that some people, I mean, they were not really being too fair. I could tell. I mean, it felt that their play was always very controlled. This is a problem, because I know myself and I know my colleagues. And when we look at our games after we play them, you feel such some people have a big difference, between good moves and bad moves, very shaky style, like me. Magnus has little less. And then you have some people who, out of nowhere, have completely solid style. That doesn't seem real somehow. Maybe I'm wrong, but just a general feeling.
Mm-hmm. So solid because they are not necessarily choosing the best lines, but those lines that do not lead to defeat and waiting for an opponent to make a mistake, right?
Yes, I guess so. And also, they kind of, I mean, if they are using any assistance, that would be probably the way to do it, not really playing some shiny chess, but just playing, not blundering anything.
But you speak about all this in like this Zen kind of way. So it's just a lesson for me, etc., etc. But isn't it like the thing that you do for living and your most important professional activity that is in danger now?
I believe in karma. And I believe that if somebody is doing something wrong and he's corrupting his soul, this is on him. I mean, I can't help that person. And no matter how many times I try to, talk about it or, you can try or kind of advise a person, but you cannot really force him to do certain things that, he doesn't want to do. I mean, when you're sitting in let's say, a taxi, and you talk about ecology and the beauty of nature and things, and then the taxi driver says, "Oh yeah, sure," and then throws like some garbage outside. This what can basically happen to you, because this is something we see every day. We're just talking into this space that is just there, but maybe we don't influence anything with it. But I myself, I know that I wouldn't do certain things, or anyway in life. I mean, it's my philosophy in life. I wouldn't do anything evil because I truly believe that. I can make a mistake, but this mistake shouldn't come from a place of personal gain or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. So you won't do anything evil on purpose?
I won't do anything egoistical or kind of evil on purpose, yeah.
That's a great approach. I wanted to ask you, what do you think the motivation for such people is? Is it purely money for those cheaters? Or if we speak not about just ordinary chess players, but grandmasters who have reputation,
yes,
who have quite good income already sometimes, if they are at the top, because even at the top it happens, I think.
I think the main motivation is they quite often, the players feel like, oh, I'm very good, but everybody's doing it. Mm-hmm. And I want to be competitive. And, if everybody's doing it, it means it's okay.
It's like the prisoner's dilemma.
Yeah, more or less. And that's what motivates a lot of people. And with some people, I think it's not just about the money, but also about the ego. Mm-hmm. They want to be, known as good players, and sometimes it's just the money. I mean, in some countries, this income is a very, very serious amount of money.
Yeah, and these amounts have multiplied by many times over the recent years. So.
And then, it's some sort of a cycle. It becomes a problem. Mm-hmm. Because once you are establishing yourself as a really good player, it becomes a problem. If you start playing fair, everybody will start questioning what happened with this guy, is there anything, he wants to tell us that happened in the past? And so they get hooked up, yeah? And their foot is in the stirrup, and there's no way back.
There's no way back. One small little lie leads to necessity to...
And like lots of people who commit crime, at some point they really want to be found out. They feel like, yes, and they start doing it more. They start doing it more obvious. Because also, when the crime is not punished, the person starts losing, his feel that, he's doing anything wrong. Mm-hmm. I think with lots of people who are corrupt or who have the power, and, it slowly turns them into monsters, and they don't remember what it feels like to be regular people, I think.
If we think about the future, I think that it becomes apparent that chess players would need to undergo some moral training to be like not prone to cheat because they are like raised in this way. Maybe I'm idealistic. What do you think about this notion? So ingrained values, I don't know.
Look, in my opinion, that the moral training is a very strange concept because, for example, I grew up in Armenia, and I remember my coach hinting me moves. Mm-hmm. I remember me knowing like that this norm tournament is fixed for this, and this guys. You know, I remember me discussing things with some kids and hinting at them and getting hinted, you know, and I cannot really say that I was an immoral person when I was little, but it's not something that you can really instill in person unless he gets to it. Obviously, if my parents knew about it, they would be very upset. But I was in this environment where this was considered the norm.
It seems that the norm currently is, well, maybe it's not the norm, but at least it's very common to cheat. Among young players, maybe some of them mix up chess with like video games where also many people cheat, to use some bots to shoot through walls in Counter-Strike.
Well, yeah, sure. With me, so just to share what happened with me, I think I was about 15 and playing against a grandmaster at some point. I let go of my piece that was blundering a queen. And then I caught it. And of course he noticed it.
Like Kasparov versus Polgar.
Yes. And he told me that. He said, "What are you doing?" You know, and I had a winning position. And I just ignored him. Won that game, but I felt that I stepped somewhere that I didn't want to be. I felt the remorse. I felt that, you know, he spoke to me. I mean, and he said he's not gonna speak to me anymore. And people looked at me in a certain way, and I think that was educational. At that moment, I kind of understand. Okay, even if I don't get punished by some arbiter or anything, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be remembered as a guy who takes back pieces, you know, his moves. Yeah. And well, I mean, I think I spoke to that grandmaster maybe like 10 years later. I mean, I tried to apologize to him many times, but I felt that it's from his reaction, I felt that it's not the right moment. But after 10 years, I mean, he laughed about it. Wow. And he understood that it kind of helped me to change.
Interesting. So you had this moment, and after that, you became different.
Yes.
I don't know what such moment for young cheaters out there could be. Getting banned on chess.com doesn't look like it's not enough, it seems. What would the adequate measure be, in your opinion, for people who are caught the first time, but who are serious title players?
Well, I guess if their name was out in the open.
So public shaming.
You know, so they could accept their mistake. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's some sort of a public shaming per se, because if you're taking away some people's money, you're basically stealing it. Yeah. And in any other field, you know, there is a record and there is your name. And if you did something even more atrocious, you're not allowed to communicate with certain people. So you have to go through rehabilitation. I don't see what's the big difference. And
Rehab for cheaters.
yeah, certainly some sort of thing is needed. I mean, I'm not as pessimistic as some of my friends who think that there are just hordes of them. I don't think so.
How big is the percentage, in your opinion, among title players?
Maybe 10%, 15%. Mostly it's the guys who are retired.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of retired guys that you can clearly see that, okay, or guys who don't play at all. And they just outplay you completely. You know, they just wipe the board with you. And you more or less understand, okay, this guy hasn't played chess for so long. So
why do it for them?
So these guys, I mean, when you're not a professional anymore, so what do? You basically coach. I mean, if you can get, I don't know, $500 or $300 weekly, it's a pretty good deal. It's a sweet deal, you know, and you don't meet those guys face to face. And you're just there sitting at your home and collecting the rent.
Well, this is crazy. Okay, let's talk about something more positive. I want to speak about your trajectory as a chess player. Obviously, you have lots of other stuff to do. You are a father, and it takes a lot of time, probably. Do you invest much time nowadays in chess?
Well, I had maybe a couple of years where I was, maybe 3 years when I was a bit out of chess. I was not doing it professionally, and I think the results more or less they show.
So you're rating the draft?
Yes, but you know, it's kind of it's a journey, and I love to engage in journeys, and I love playing, and I love studying chess. I love learning things, and despite the fact that, you know, as we spoke in the start, I'm a bit pessimistic about the future of classical chess. But you know, there's rapid and blitz, and there you can do anything in those things. And I think the organizers also kind of understand that the classical chess, if you organize tournaments with all the best players, you will not have too much excitement. So they mix up the field. They add lots of young, you know, or players that are not known yet. They're pretty good, but not known yet. So they mix it up. So that's why I'm excited. I mean, I love playing in India. I mean, I'm not happy with my play, but I love the whole experience because these guys, I never played some of them.
What about training? Because you've been in the game for many years. Doesn't it get boring to memorize new lines and openings and solve some tactics if you do it or something like that?
Well, I mean, if you have been doing it for so long, it becomes, you know, part of your DNA, and it's something you really enjoy and something you look forward to. And I try to learn new things. I don't try to, you know, just stick to the same things. So I try to make it exciting for myself.
How many hours per day on average do you dedicate to chess? Approximately.
When I'm at home and I'm free, then I would say 3 hours.
And during tournaments?
About the same.
So it's not a crazy amount of time, but still. I think Daniel Dubov in a podcast told me that he doesn't think that you should spend more than 2 to 3 hours per day if you are a professional. That it's not effective to up this amount. Do you agree?
Well, Daniel is, I mean, he's such a hardworking guy, and I'm sure that his 3 hours are equaling my 6 hours, because I'm just sitting there, listening to music, just contemplating, thinking about the philosophical things of the position. And I think he's really tackling the position. So, but generally, I would agree that, the time has changed. I think the knowledge is easier to attain. You just need to play much more. So it's much more useful, to learn a line and then play, let's say, 10 or 20 blitz games. Mm-hmm. And then you get the experience.
Mm-hmm. So you also try to play training games or put games under anonymous accounts? How do you test your...
Unfortunately, I don't have that luxury, so something to think about. And as my goal for the next year, to play a lot of training games in certain openings.
What are your goals currently in chess? You have achieved many things. You have won many tournaments, top tournaments. You have been 28-35 rated, I think. So you have done some crazily impressive things. Like your games, I've studied them. Many of our viewers studied them. This is like, you cannot overpraise you. But what now? Do you have like some ambitious goal, or do you just enjoy the journey, as you said, that you like?
I think in order to have ambitious goals, you need to be in a position for ambitious goals, You need to be like, top 10 or top 5. And I've been playing atrociously badly. My style has been extremely boring. Therefore, now I'm more concentrated on, playing more exciting. I'm a player, if we can use it from RPGs, I'm a chaotic player. I've always been chaotic good. And in life as well. But then I had too much chaos in my life. And it was really not good. So I became very orderly, in my life and in my chess. But that's not me. So now the goal is to finally, my life has come to, good quest. I already have a house and a family, and things are good, So now I can come back to my chaotic self. So this is the goal.
Wow, this sounds a bit esoteric and very, very interesting. Do you consider chess as a way of discovering yourself, opening your character traits up for yourself?
No, sure. I do believe that chess is kind of showing your state of mind. The way you play, especially on the highest level, because, I think, let's say any other sport, if you're not a professional, it doesn't really show anything because you're not good at it. Yeah. So, but once you reach certain artistry, like in any art form, you're expressing yourself through your art form. And since the chess is some kind of symbiosis of art and sports, I think definitely it shows.
Mm-hmm. Which component of chess have you historically deemed more important for you? The sports component, the art component?
This was always my problem, as a sport. I think that's why I never became world champion, because I tend to lose interest when I outplay my opponents. This has always been the case. And actually, it's rather funny, but it's happened a lot in many other spheres and that I'm interested in. Let's say, even computer games. Suddenly I feel the challenge is not very difficult, I lose interest. You know, and in the chess, of course, it's very bad because there you are, you outplayed your opponent, you have a winning position, and this is the moment to turn on your killing errors instinct and kill your opponent. But suddenly I lose the motivation.
The art component is quite important. The component of creating some interesting stuff on the board.
No, not so much. It's more about competition. So
just
when I'm competing, you know, and I feel that I have somebody strong against me, I have respect for that person, and I want to show my best.
But how about finishing them off? Is it?
Yeah, somebody I lose the interest because I say, okay, I mean, my opponent, you know, he didn't show that he plays well. So I don't feel the same emotion as I would feel if I was, you know, it's like throwing out the riddles, you know, you throw out, or I don't know, if, for example, if you were having like a rap battle and then you come up with some beautiful poetry and your opponent is just doing some kind of name dropping instead of like really going into verses. He's just practicing this. He's showing off his knowledge instead of showing his poetry, and then you slowly kind of I don't want to play. So that's a problem I have.
That was an unusual comparison. Are you a fan of rap battles?
Sure, I love poetry a lot. So I love rap because it's the modern day poetry.
What kind of rap do you like, and what kind of rap battles?
Well, I didn't really watch any rap battles, to be honest. But the rap that I like different musicians. I mean, different artists.
Who's in your top?
I love Kendrick. I love Kendrick Lamar. I love J. Cole. I also love Russian rap as well. Yeah?
Russian rap?
Yeah.
Who?
Well, I mean, when I was growing up, of course, I've been a big fan of Goof.
Wow.
Yes. Also, of course, Basta. From you guys, have always, once I heard him, I really loved some of his stuff. Slava Kapesas.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan, yes.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he has a nice style.
He is also a chess player, but like club level.
Oh, see?
Yes. He told about it in one of his streams. Okay, very, very unusual to hear this from you, but this is good taste, in my opinion, at least.
Thank you.
Let's talk about other creators that have influenced you. Chess players, they are also creating.
Yes, of course. I think I'm most influenced by Ivanchuk. Yes.
Because of his creative style?
I always wanted kind of, to mimic him, which I never could do. But as influence, as kind of approach on many things, definitely comes from him.
That's interesting.
Maneuvering, creating kind of difficult patterns, trying to get some positions where there's lots of dynamical play. So this I can more or less compare it with.
Interesting. What about the greats of the past?
Alekhine has always been my favorite. I mean, he's clearly underrated. He's one of these guys that has always thinking about new ideas in the game. Some guys were just so technically amazing, like, I don't know, Capablanca or Bogolubov. They had this great technique. And Alekhine wasn't like that. He was more about creating dynamical play. I'm really happy that my first book was Book of Alechin. And, well, of course, Kasparov. Yeah. Spassky. Those are my guys.
Mm-hmm. Have you played a lot with Kasparov?
No.
He retired already?
No, I've never played a classical game against him.
But you've played probably in St. Louis, right? To those events.
So I played the Blitz tournament where I scored 13 out of 16 and he scored 12 out of 16. And I beat him in 2003 in Reykjavik. Yeah, this was my first success.
How did it feel?
Oh, it felt great. I remember beating him, because he was very concentrated in every single game, and he was always well prepared, and I managed to trick him. And it was kind of funny because the next game I was playing against Magnus, and Magnus, I think he was 13. And I'm under this crazy shock because I've beaten my hero. And suddenly I play Queen's Gambit, which I've never played in my life. Yeah, because I'm so overwhelmed. and then I'm just making moves, not understanding what's going on. And, well, the game ended in a draw. But, somehow this happened to me many times when I suddenly play some opening and I lose control. I don't understand what I'm doing.
You get carried away with something or what?
I can't tell what I'm doing at that moment. One time I remember I prepared for 3 hours. I prepared to play Queen's Gambit, Queen's Indian Defense, in a very important tournament for me, the first in hours that I won. I was playing against Rehab, and my second, Vova Potkin, was looking at the game. And, we have prepared very well. I mean, we had maybe 2 days. And the game appears. Rehab plays knight f3, third move. And I quickly called d5. It was hilarious. And then Vova is there, he's sitting in the first row and he's looking with his eyes. And he's like, what? Did he trick me or what happened? He doesn't trust me or...
That was a prank.
I pranked myself. Yeah.
How do you deal with this psychological side of chess? Many people from the top whom I've spoken to say that this is sometimes the thing that separates just people from the top from the people from the top of the top. the psychology. You mentioned those lapses of concentration with openings. How often do they happen, and what do you do about them? Do you have a life hack?
I actually don't, because this has always been my problem, psychological stability. Because quite often in some most important moments, I played badly. So to say that I know how to deal with it, it won't be fair, because, of course, compared to a strong GM, I'm much, much better. But compared to our world champion level, I'm not as good, because I think I lose my cool in important moments.
Isn't that the thing that Magnus does quite well, keeping his cool?
Oh, he's absolutely brilliant at it. Yes. Also, Fabi. Mm-hmm. Fabi is, there are many people who are phenomenal like that.
Have you gone to sessions with psychotherapist, sports psychologist?
Sure, it did help me a lot. Occasionally it helps me, just to remember the routines. But after all, I'm a person from Caucasus. I can get to a certain level of psychological control. But, we have a hot blood, If you've been, you would know that how the people drive or how they converse. And I just understand my limitations when it comes to that. and quite often I make extra effort. You know, some of the best tournaments that I won because I remembered really to pay attention to staying cool.
Mm-hmm. Do you do anything like meditation or stuff like that?
Similar things. I won't call them meditation, but some breathing exercises.
Breathing exercise. Just deep breath and stuff like that?
It's similar, yeah. Or, you know, some auto training, yeah.
When you say things to yourself?
Yes.
What do you say, if it's not a secret?
Well, it's part of my training. Well, I basically try to, you know, I think you try to imagine yourself in a place of great comfort. Or, you know, and then you try to warm up your temperature with while thinking about telling yourself some commands.
Commands like what?
Well, you know, certain commands that you want your body to execute, or let's say you're telling yourself how to stay calm, basically.
That sounds like something I should try during my games. That's really interesting. Do you imagine some place where you feel safe, like the childhood place, or just a place, your home, something like that?
It's very different with different people. Mm-hmm. I, for some reason, imagine myself being at the beach. That's a place of great comfort.
Interesting. Where exactly?
I have an apartment in the north of Spain, in San Sebastian, by the beach. So that's where I like to be, and that's one of my favorite places to be. And it's the place that comes to my mind when I want to feel happy.
Sounds really cozy. Which books would you recommend chess players who are watching this to improve? Let's say amateur chess players who want to get better.
One of my favorite books that I always mention, and probably I've mentioned it a million times, and people are probably reading it and buying it. It's the 7 Chess Deadly Sins by Jonathan Rose.
Yeah, I've heard it mentioned, but I haven't read it yet.
Oh, I love that book, yeah. I think that's very helpful. It was helpful to me.
You were already a chess player?
I was a grandmaster, yeah. Yeah. Just what else can I recommend? Oh, my friend writes brilliant books. Boris Gelfand. I don't know if they're for the certain level. And also, of course, Dvorsky's books are fantastic.
On endgames?
No, just general. I mean, not the ones that have too many analytical positions, but so when I was like 12, 13, they started getting those books. It was actually interesting that, you know, Pasha Ilyanov is a very nice guy. His father started publishing those books in Kharkov. And because of that, we got access to Dvorsky's books. They were translated, or maybe they existed in Russian in draft, but they're published. And then we got all this magnificent books, you know, positional game, preparation. And I think definitely I gained maybe 100 or 200 rating points by just reading those books.
Wow. We will give the links to all those books in the description for everyone's interested. So don't just watch this podcast and go home and like, okay, fine.
Yeah, it was back in the day when I didn't speak, my English wasn't that good. So I read them in Russian, and they made me a chess player. And that's what Pasha said, that he also benefited greatly.
Okay. I think we should listen to the advice. Definitely. Levon, to sum things up, as a final segment of the show, I ask my guests to play against me. Since I'm a mere mortal and candidate master, I would require timeouts to make it a little bit interesting.
Yeah.
I don't stand a chance, obviously, but still it will be some content. 1 against 5. Is it okay?
Perfect.
Okay, guys, but don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and write in the comments your thoughts and your ideas, your main takeaways from this episode, what you will implement in your own life. I think it was a very deep philosophical discussion.
Thank you.
But now let's play. Okay. Good luck. I feel intimidated already. Okay, let's go. It was not a wise decision by me. What did I do? Okay. You were not even interested in the exchange.
Your hope is if I lose interest.
Yeah, I was trying to achieve that, but okay. I realized that I have no chance, but still, for the content, I have to continue this. Okay, let's see what happens now. I will get destroyed. King walk. How far can I walk?
Well,
Not really far.
not so far.
Well, I'm up material. We can look at the bright side.
Sure.
But no longer. Thanks for the game.
Thank you very much.
Subscribe to the channel and write in the comments how long would you last, in your opinion, against Levon Aronian. Thank you very much.
Thank you.